going to do a quick live. Got Tito, got Spry. It's a real early time. We usually don't do them this early, but I don't have a chance to do it later. So gonna get one in, and part of the reason why I'm doing it is because I didn't do one yesterday. I did one the day before. To be honest with you, it's a lot harder for me to do these if I don't stay consistent with it. So Barry Tull is in, James Monjar is joining. James has been updating me on some of his retrieving and his hold conditioning, and I'm really glad he sent me a video yesterday. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think you're that far off, James. I think you're closer than you think. I think it's a simple fix with his dog, and it'd be interesting to share that video, James, because so that everyone else can see it and kind of see what I'm talking about. I think a lot of people run into the same problem you're having. You had some issues with retrieve. You went to hold thinking that hold was going to be the fix, which it fixes a lot of stuff. But if you don't have a retrieve to start out with, it doesn't create retrieve. So I think James has hold down really well. It seems to me. His dog just struggles to retrieve, and I think his fix is shortening everything up and simplifying it. And if he simplifies and shortens up these retrieves in the hallway to make them 3-step and then 4-step and then 5-step instead of 10-step to start off, I think he's going to be there. And all it's going to take right now is for it to click. That's all you need, is for it to click with your dog. So keep going, James. I say that because I'm proud of what you've done as far as the work, and I won't let you fail at this point. You got enough work into it. You have more work into it than most have altogether. So you'll get through it, and I'll help you get through it. We'll do it together. Dan Todd is in. Dan is in. He says I'm early. I am early. I'm never early. Part of the reason is I've got a basketball game that I've got to go to tonight, and then I'm heading north. So Wes Hansen joined in. Eric's in. Cody's in. Chris, Brian Frisk, Christy Isker watching. So Early Bird is right, Vicky says, that's the Bob Ross shirt. They're all Bob Ross shirts, Dan. And Dan's really giving me a hard time on my emoji or whatever you call it. I like that though. So I am early. We'll see, maybe a different crowd too. Might be Brian Wheeler's joined in. Chris Hines. Now, Brian Wheeler, where are you from? I know a Brian Wheeler. I don't think you're him. So let's get started right away. I am going to ask you guys to do what I always ask in the beginning, is please share these to someone that you think it might help. Tonight what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use Tito again, and we're going to have Spry watch. We've been doing that for a while, and why are we doing that? In some, I don't think anyone's really questioning it or has asked, but I kind of question it because I go, it's live with Spry. Why do we're using Tito here? Part of the reason is because this is what I feel like I need to work on Spry. Brian says he's from Maryland. That's not the Brian I know. My Brian's from Green Bay. But welcome, Brian Wheeler. So Amber joined in. Actually, Amber's. It's not Amber, is it? Blahnik. Elise is in. Elise Greening from out west. Hi, Elise. Just saw an email from you, Elise, about Turkey Federation. We'll be taking care of that for you. Scott's in. Amy Blazer's watching. There's a neighbor of mine. So different crowd, different time of day here, just because of the schedule that I'm on right now. But back to what I was saying is it's live with Spry, and I have I brought it up a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I would say. My problem with Spry was I was losing that ability to put her on a remote sit and leave her with confidence. I want to be able to put her on a remote sit and leave her for a while and not have the idea of we get up and we start walking around and getting into trouble. So she ran into an issue with that. So what I am going to do with her is this time, Spry. Bring her over here. And actually, I think I will put her a little bit closer to the camera so it's easier for you to see. Sit. I'm going to use Tito. I'm going to continue to work on what Tito and I have been working on, and that's our turns. That's our feet, trying to get his feet to connect and match up with him starting to think a little bit. I want to bring up something quick too, because I've gotten a few messages from it that people kind of appreciated it, and that's always reassuring. on our Snapchat and our Instagram. If you're not on there, and I know we've talked about this, a lot of the Facebook people, some of them do both, some do more than others, but I'm using Instagram and I'm using our Snapchat a lot more. It's very quick and easy for me. It doesn't take as long as doing these. These are really nice for this platform, and to be able to have interaction like this, and I like that. Can't do that on Snapchat. I can't do that on Instagram, not as well anyway. So, but you may have seen, I had a hell of a time yesterday with that little red dog of ours that we're training. It's not ours, but we're training her, and she was just a real pill, and she really pushed me. And so if you're following along with our stories there, you would have gotten something to see. And I had some people respond back, go, you know what? Yesterday I had a rough day, and my dog did this, and I'm glad I saw that. And this morning we did a walk with them, and two of the 7 dogs had to be put on heel because I just couldn't get them to listen when they get out with the other dogs. So there's times where that little Elsa, that little fox red dog, she's really testing me lately. I think it's just dogs go through these different phases where they kind of have I'm not going to say it's off weeks, but they go through these little stages of maturity, and they test. And I'm there with her right now. Moja is a little bit older than Tito. She tests more than the 2 dogs that are the same age. I've got brother and sister that I'm training. So it's just, I got to be fluid, and I got to be willing to adjust and make adjustments to our training accordingly. So today we went for a walk, and 2 out of the 7 had to be on heel. Actually, 3 out of the 7 I think were on heel this morning, because Tito was too. He just wasn't responding very well to me either when the other dogs were there. He wasn't coming when I wanted him to come. So Cody, who recalled really nice, and then the 3 black dogs, they got to be out and recall and be out and recall, and they healed the other ones. So I'm going to go to Tito, who is really settled in nicely. I've got him on his place over there. You sit down, Spry. And he really has settled down pretty nice. And so this is the first time we've gone live. Now if you saw that, it was just a tap, tap, tap. It really wasn't a pull. This is where this adjustable leader works well. I need to be able to have control to put as much or as little pressure on him as I need. And if you saw that, if you notice how I adjusted that, physically I adjusted the collar, but I tapped him. That was it. I tried it twice, it wasn't enough. The 3rd time was enough to get him to do what? Spin right back into position. I posted a few video short segments or video clips that are from our workshop last year. And you see me talking about a lot of this stuff in those. That's a big part of the workshop, the foundation workshop. But you'll see a lot of common things where I talk about it in there, and I talk about it. That's a real sign of repetition and consistency. I will say I'm real repetitious. I would say I'm pretty damn consistent with stuff. So I do fade with some of it intentionally, and I fade with some of it unintentionally. And when I start to fade on it unintentionally, I usually create holes in my training. I did it with this dog. I quit paying attention to such steadiness, and it faded away on me. It wasn't gone. You can see it's still here. But I've been working on it for about a month, and I've been working pretty hard. And she's been sitting remote more often in the last 4 weeks than she had the 4 months probably prior to that. Maybe not that long, but 2 months at least. And so now I'm sharpening things back up. So at times I loosen things up intentionally. We loosened up this dog's habit of sit to the heel. If you follow back about a week, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I got to get this dog to continue to understand when he heels and I stop. I don't want him to sit. I want him to just stand, because that's going to allow me to back his feet. So I'm still just working on getting him to go backwards and lead with his back end. So see, I got to get my hands adjusted. Really used to putting him right here. He's got the long collar on, 6 inches longer. So I got to adjust for that. So I actually get my hand right down to the hardware. A little out in front right off the bat. One correction will probably do that. Do the fix. Notice he doesn't sit this time. That's an improvement over the last couple of days. I don't even know that he's does take a little half step to adjust, and that's okay. That's what he's doing different than sitting now. No? So I say that word when he goes to do it. There. I don't say the word he doesn't do it. What you can't see is his eyes are pretty good. I just saw a video, Vicki Rayburn sent a video working with her dog off lead on heel, and one thing that really stood out to me is the eyes. Now another thing that stood out to me, I don't know if Vicki's got a trick up her sleeve, but one thing that stood out to me was Vicki's like this. Her body language is like this, and that dog's really got the eyes on it. Now, Vicki, don't tell me you had a little treat in your hand, did you? Because that's what the first thing I thought was, she's going to give the dog a treat there pretty soon. I'm not saying you did, but you got your dog's eyes, that's for sure. Now it's at my pace, and he's really sinking in with me pretty good. We're going slow. I'm going to speed things back up. One thing we did different there was I didn't turn at the same spot. I've been turning at the same spot. And he kind of held up at that spot. He's out of position right now. After this, I'm going to start to turn into him. That time he was out too far, and I kind of caught him by surprise. Good. Very good. I don't want him to sit. Good. That one he didn't do as well as the one before. Good. Good. So I'm getting his feet to move back. Now I'm going to try to actually get his body in that right way. No. No. See? You see that? It's like the dog's really smart. And what he's doing is he's just spinning now in anticipation of that turn. I don't want that either. So I'm going to keep him honest. I'm going to turn to the right, because if he spins the other way, it's not going to work. Now I'm surprised to get him a little bit uncomfortable. See, now we've lost the backing. It's not backing at all. See his little move that he's got now? He's got a little spin. This is real interesting because he was doing pretty well, and all of a sudden this is new. What? He hasn't done this before. But look how nimble he is, and look how quick. I think what he thinks is he's real quick by doing that. I think he thinks he's really smart by doing that. I think he thinks that that's maybe what I want him to do, because he doesn't know exactly what I want him to do. He does understand that I'm going to turn into him and we're going to go the other way, and he's figured out a quicker way to get there. Well, it's loose. It's sloppy. It's like a really bad crossover. I don't want a bad crossover. Now I'm talking basketball. I don't want a real sloppy crossover. I want it to be quick and short. But he's going, well, I'm doing the same thing. No, you're going to get your ball stolen from you if you do that. You look like a fool. So he's really just spinning around, and he's pretty out of control. Not what I'm looking for. So now I'm going to try to dial that back a little bit. Good. 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 See how I'm going to try to cut this corner for him? Nope. There. Good. What he's doing is he's spinning, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to block him with my leg. Nope. Nope. I was really confused. Nope. 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 Good. Nope. Now I'm out of the camera. So, boy, we went and we were going pretty good, and now we're not. Come on. Come on. There. Good. Good. Might be out of the screen, but like a little dance for this guy. Nope. Good. Very good. See, I'm trying to time this turn. Today he's nowhere near as well as he has been. So that's okay. But I don't know which direction he's going to go. One time he spins this way, one time he spins this way. He's pretty quick. He's become quite agile. Like, if you look back in the very beginning when we did this, he was actually almost like real stiff. And it was, you could tell it was really uncomfortable and awkward for him to move his feet the way that I was asking him to. So he would almost plant his back feet and be very robotic with his turns, to the point where sometimes he would sit and just be super stiff. Now he's all over the place. He's loosey all over the place. But sit down. But he's also really uncoordinated and making pretty bad decisions. So now I got to get him. Now I got to figure out how to balance. Like, he's loose. He's not super stiff, but he's thinking way faster. His mind's going way faster. His body's going faster than his mind. And his mind's not catching up to his body. So his timing is poor. And so I got to figure out how to be able to capture it. That last little thing that I was doing was, I was almost like backing him up like a trailer. And I didn't mind. I wanted him to just go backwards. And he was looking at me and just go backwards. And I was trying to get him to bend. And when he did bend, I was going to try to swoop in and try to help him make the finish. And that's what he did. But we got a ways to go with that, Hugh. Good. Very good. Come on, finish it. Good. That one was nice and slow. Come on. Watch how slow his feet were. Like, you can almost see him, now he's drifting on me a little bit. You can almost see him thinking about it, and it's transferring from his mind down to his feet. Like, that one was really slow, and he really was like, but he was doing everything right. He just did it really slowly. And I reminded him of, good. I like that. The ones before, when he was flipping around, his flipping around was faster than his head. And it was all wrong decisions. They were all bad picks. So, we got to get him to be able to sync the two together. Good. That's it. No. Good. You can see he's really trying. He's really trying right now. No. Getting a little playful, and he wants to nip at that tab. No. Heel. So I adjust it. Good. There. That one was better. I'm going to do that up here. I'm going to do it real slow. live. Hasn't been that long. We haven't been doing it that long, but he's lost his energy. He's lost his focus. I'm gonna leave this lead on him actually for a sit. Spry. Now, I'm gonna ask him to do something different. We have not done this before. I'm gonna ask him to do something different here for us. I'm gonna make him sit while I work with Spry. We've asked him to do it on his bed. Spry, Spry, Spry. But I'm gonna challenge him. I'm gonna challenge him to have to think, but he's not the spotlight. It's not his turn. There's the turn I'm looking for. You really see her bend today. It's pretty nice. It's gotten a lot better in a week's time. Now I'm just giving him a break. This isn't so much for Spry. Spry's not gaining a lot out of this. It's more for him. It's more for him to have to think, but not physically have to do anything, Spry. And I'm doing it in a way that's real. I think he can manage. I think he can manage this distraction. He wouldn't be able to manage it if I was throwing heel. So I caught her off guard too. He wouldn't be able to manage it if I was throwing bumpers. It'd be too much. See the difference in her feet? That's what I'm trying to get out of Tito. There. Right there. That's what I'm shooting for with him. Now I just gave him a little bit of a break. I'm real happy with what Spry's been doing lately. That was good. Yeah. Make it easier on him. I'll go in between them. There. Good. See, once he plants his butt, he's stuck. There's that wrong turn again. No. That time I corrected it. Good. At some point I gotta put a stop to that wrong turn. So I did there. Good. Just not getting back. Good. It's hard to do. I know. He's really jamming up on me today. Those back feet just aren't working. Not the way we want them to. Good. Bend's wrong, but at least he's back. Good. Good. Now you watch that last little set rep there, and you go, man, that was really a struggle. I went almost from there, like right from the camera, all the way to here before he finally spun around the back position. got to get him to understand the way to finish it is not to go away, it's to get back in. It's to get back in. So he's got to figure out how to make that turn and get back in. And that's where part of where he's struggling. And that comes from just not comfortable going backwards. But that's why we keep working on it. And we work on it a little bit at a time. Good. Just can't get him to finish it. Just can't get him to finish it. So that's it. I'm not going to push it anymore. I don't know that we're going to get any more out of it if I wanted to keep pushing right now. I don't think we would. So, was it the best? No, it wasn't. Was it another session? It was. Was it another repetition of consistency with lives? It was. That's part of the reason why I did it. With him, did I go backwards? No, I don't think we went backwards. I don't know that we went forward that much either. Yeah. What I did like about today was putting him on a remote sit. Here's another reason I like that adjustable leader. He still feels weight on it. It still feels to him like I might have him. Don't want him playing with it. Don't want him sniffing. But what I did like about it was we added in a remote sit. This is a real tempting remote sit. Maybe too tempting. But this is all right too. Add little challenges like this. Let's see, any questions? Normally Chad is watching, but yes, it's actually me today. Amber's actually on it. Well, welcome Amber. Chad is pretty consistent. Let's see. You don't call dogs off place, but what about remote sit? Very rarely, Dan. So, and I will call my older dogs off of it. It's the dogs that are struggling with it. So Spry, I actually will call her off at times because she's pretty good on it. I don't have a wavering with her like I do the other ones. These young ones that were just fighting the idea of them taking their feet off a place, I don't call them off because that's too much. That's too much erosion on what I'm working hard to do. But Spry, I will. I called Spry off a sit today. If they're steady, I will. Now, you say, yeah, but she said she wasn't steady. Yeah, she wanders on me after a while. Come here, I'm going to separate these guys. Sit and make it a little bit easier on them. Let's see. And Vicky says, Dan, same, you go to them and release them. Especially the young ones. I'm going to go up to them and take them off the place. I'm going to come up and take them off of sit. I'm not going to call the ones that are having a tendency to be creepers. Spry, I don't really have that issue. Not like I used to have, especially on place. Chase says, good evening. An early evening, probably the earliest. Andy Lund is in. Nicole Larson's watching. Brian Calvert's watching. Hey, Brian. Brooke is in. Let's see. John says, great advice. I'm not sure what the timing was on that one, but I appreciate that. Curtis got in. Curtis is coming to a workshop over in Buffalo County. Cam Cutters is watching. Nick Ackerman is watching. Really wish Nick was coming to a workshop over in Buffalo County. He knows that. Cam Cutters says they were just shed hunting. Did you find any? We have had an ideal melt here in Wisconsin. Yesterday was probably the best day I could imagine to go. It was just a really nice melt. I did not get a chance to go. I wish I could have. Let's see. Vicky says she put another video up today. I did see the one where you were off lead, and I thought it was tremendous. I mentioned it earlier. Let's see. We got to figure out how to post with the laptop. Not sure on that one. Jeff, you know I'm not an IT guy. Colin is in, Jordan is in, Mark's in. Thank you guys for watching. Again, I appreciate all you guys sharing. Thanks for the videos on the free play. No problem. So Jeff saw the videos on the free play, and that was a Snapchat and an Instagram story. It was really a really simple thing that I was just dealing with at the moment, and I was able to put it on there, and that's why I like those channels or those avenues. Jacob Burris is in, as well as Recall. Mine likes to lag lately on his Recall, 7 months old and getting bold. So a little bit later, Jeff. Usually I see that earlier. See how he's trying to get his chin under there? Can't quite get it. If he were to get it, I would tighten this just slightly. Hold on 1 second. See how I just tightened that up? Now there's no way he gets it. Now that one is probably on the border as far as the length. I would probably go with, right now I'd go with a small. He's gonna get a little bit bigger, and I'd use this size, but that to me is just slightly too long. Now he can't get his mouth underneath it though. He will pick up that tab. Hey, it's enough. I don't want to create a habit. We'll wear him out that way. Okay. Stephanie joined in. Crab cakes are in, oh boy. These heel lives are helping me a ton. He still wants to be forward, not as much as he has been. You just can't catch it, can you, there, fella? Jacob Burris saw my wife's post and it sounds like it's time to eat. 15 months, hey, enough. 15 months has been through hold conditioning, will not release till I give the command. I had access to a pond yesterday and did some trailing memories. She kept wanting to drop the bumper at the water's edge. Yes, that is a huge issue, Dustin. They have a tendency to come out and want to shake. At the water's edge, as she returned, I had to get to the very edge, put my hand under her jaw and keep her from dropping. Other suggestions? To me, there's two things. When you start working dogs out of water, that's a separate drill. Come on. So, rather than see this spiral downhill, I go back to where I know he's going to do real well, and I know we're going to get success. And that's on his bed. So Dusty, before I would go, so you've got hold conditioning, and it sounds like on dry land you're really good. You go into the water. Well, you just changed a huge part of the situation that you're working towards. You went from dry land to water. Big difference. So I would approach dry land like I would the first time I approached it. Or I would approach water the same way I approached dry land, incrementally. So I'd start out with water retrieves. I'd still do everything the same. It would look very similar. And then what I would do is I would meet the dog a foot into the water. I'd be in the water with them. And I'd have them come to me, and as soon as they stood up, or their feet touched the ground and they stood, I'd be there to make sure and reinforce hold. So I'd do it the exact same way that I would do it if it was on dry land. I'd reassure it. And then I'd maybe take a step back, and I'd let him take 2 steps. So he's up to his, maybe his chest is out of the water. He's standing, but you're reminding him to hold, 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 hold. And that's when the tone comes in. You change your tone and you get serious, and they're going to flash back to the table. When you went, hold, and you were real firm about it, and then you got results, and you say, good. And so we're going to do the exact same thing in the water, and then you start to work where they come out, or they get a step out. This might be over a period of a week. I don't know how long it's going to take. But they come out of the water once. Almost lost you guys. So they're right there to remind them, hold. You do it again. Now it's 2 steps. Maybe it's 3 steps. To the point where they come out of the water, and it's just like training for hold conditioning. It's just another step of hold conditioning. But you can't go from A to Z with it. You have to go from A to B, B to C, C to D. You get to Z. Justin says he just got it live. It's been a while. Sarah Forsberg watched. She watched for Tito today. We're getting there, Sarah. Don't worry. We'll get there. Didn't find any but 3 dead deer. I suppose that is a win. It's a bummer that they're dead, but nice finds. Sarah laughed and said, "Oh, Tito." Forsberg is watching. Jeff is in as well. I hope you two are sitting on the couch together looking at your screens, your phones. Wouldn't that be romantic? Marty is in. Sam Tripp is watching. Stefan says, "Sarah, I was laughing at him too. It's like someone tapping you on the shoulder and then hiding." Oh, you're laughing at it as, you're laughing at the collar trick. Yeah, well, just another benefit of the adjustable leader. So, all right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Have a great weekend. I don't know that I'll be in an area that has live reception. And to be honest with you, I don't know that I'm going to have any dogs with me. I may have a weekend without a dog. I really feel uncomfortable. But have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. One of the things we're going to be doing next week, share this, and I'm going to make a post about it. Next week, we're going to kick off our Road to the Rally. It's our Road to Shed Rally. Shed Rally is about a little under a month away. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a series of things to prepare. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to prepare to take a dog out shed hunting, whether they're 7 months old or 6 or 7 months old like Elsa, 7 months old like these guys, 7 or 8 months old like these guys are, Tito and Cody, who are at completely different points in their training. Moja, who's about a month older, she's at a different spot of preparation for the field. Spry, it's her first season. She's at a different spot. Ellie, it's her second season. She's at a different spot. Taylor, she's at her fourth season, or third season, really, I guess. But all at different spots, and it has to do partially with their age, partially with where they are as far as the training process, and partially with just the individual dogs. Like, some of them are older and they're further along than others. Some of them are a little older and they're not quite as far on some things. I worked with Elsa today, and that dog retrieves like really, really beautiful. She really retrieves nicely. I worked with Moja, and she struggles. She retrieves, she likes to run off. So she has to be in real controlled areas. Part of it is her personality. She bubbles over really easily. Elsa doesn't bubble over nearly as easily. Elsa has matured more in the last month than probably Tito, Cody. We've only had Cody a little while, but Cody, Tito, and Moja, Elsa has probably matured more and quicker, and maybe is more mature as a whole right now than the other three that are all older than her. Just different personalities. Spry has come great strides in the last couple months, and it's been very little to do with retrieving. I mean, she started retrieving again. I haven't been doing a whole lot with her. It's not something that I need to work a ton on with her, but we will now that the weather's getting a little bit better. It's going to be easier for us to get outside. So next week we start Road to the Rally, Shed Rally, hashtag Shed Rally. Check out Whitetail Properties. We're partnering with them on it. We're going to be actually going through their channels. So like the Whitetail Properties pages and start following the Whitetail Properties pages. I'll be making announcements on our Dog Bone page, but it's going to be really interesting because we're going to be able to introduce the idea of some of this dog stuff to a completely different crowd of followers, and that's going to be real exciting for us, but I think it's going to bring a ton of value to them. I think they're going to really enjoy it. So something that we're looking forward to, and we're going to be starting it next week. Jeff Trudell got in. Jeff, we're done, my man. You're going to have to watch this one later. So you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.